Here we are at the car park for the Walls of Jerusalem National Park. We've just behind us, we've got the walker registration. We're a bit late, but at least now the sun's out. It's been really wet. We're gonna try and spend a couple of nights up here and test the Tooth Fairy's ankle, see how she goes, but we'll bring you along for the ride. The track starts off through relatively low altitude, dry sclerophyll eucalypt forest, and we're about 20 meters in and I'm puffing like a wounded dog already. After climbing for about 20-25 minutes with a full pack, we've come to the very beginning of the boundary of Walls of Jerusalem National Park. It is late November, so it's still spring. You can see some of the wildflowers. Where there's water, there's ferns, but also there's bushfires. It gets really dry here in summer, and there's evidence of big bushfires come through. It takes a really long time for the native vegetation to recover. Unless it's a really intense fire, the eucalypts survive and outcompete the other species. But here we've got a nice wet zone with a lot of ferns. This is the Trapper's Hut. It's about 2 kilometers up the track from the car park in the Walls of Jerusalem National Park. In the early 1900s, there was a lot of huts like this up in the Alpine regions where possum trappers would trap possums for their fur. A little past the Trapper's Huts, the turn off down to Lake Adelaide or up to the Walls. Here we have the Tasmanian jack jumper. It's an ant that'll actually come to you. You can see how they're, I guess in a way, swarming towards me just because I'm standing here. But you've got to be really careful of these ones if you have any risk of anaphylactic shock. These ones will send you into anaphylaxis, and by the time you know that you're allergic to them, it's probably too late. See the rugged mountains through the trees, looking out to the west. One of the interesting things about the Tasmanian Alpine area is the diversity of flora and fauna that's found just in Tasmania. And this Alpine, or these Alpine regions in Tasmania, are the most diverse in the world. So this is our campsite for tonight. We may end up staying 2 nights. We're at Wild Dog Tier and looking out over the valley and the mountains in the distance. First of all, we're going to put our tent up, make a brew and cook dinner because it is late. Little baby wallaby there behind mum. We'll see. Oh, there we go. Poke the head up. There she goes. Oh, back again. Mum's not too concerned. The little Joey is a little bit towy. Just tracking a wombat. There he goes. Oh, he's off. Wombats are hardy creatures. They live in some pretty rugged environment, but how do they do square poo? Good news, no possums in the night, but there's been a lot of drizzle, the cloud's really low, and we know there's a storm coming tonight or this afternoon, so we're going to keep our camp here at Wild Dog Tier and then just do a day trip up into Mount Jerusalem. So then we've got a shorter walk back in the morning in the wet. We can see the valley in front of us, the low cloud. Cloud's probably sitting at about 1100 meters. We've got Wild Dog Creek that you might be able to hear. It's pretty windy. And now looking back to the west, these cushion plants are a feature of the Walls of Jerusalem National Park. They take hundreds of years to grow. They look a bit like a coral. The pools of Bethsaida. You can see just to the left of the pool all the dead pencil pine stems. So fires come all the way in here, but just those trees that are right in the wet area have been able to survive. And once they're burned out, then that's it. Straight ahead is the temple and Damascus Gate and Solomon's Throne, where we'll go over there into Dixon's kingdom. It's nice just to sit in the quiet, pretty protected from the wind, and just listen. Got a carcass of a wallaby here. Looks like it's been cleaned up by a quoll or a native cat, but it's an indication that there aren't any Tassie devils here, because if there were Tassie devils, they eat everything. Started descending from Damascus Gate, now looking south into the Walls of Jerusalem National Park, and further past will be Lake St. Clair. We're coming into Dixon's kingdom, which is, if not the largest, one of the largest remaining stands of pencil pines. It's quite mystical with all these ancient pencil pines twisted, contorted over the centuries that it takes them to grow. It's really quite a special place. The new Dixon's Kingdom campsite is really well done. I've got lock boxes for your food to keep the possums out. There's an area for the privateers, and the toilets are meant to be spectacular with a fantastic view. From the new Dixon's Kingdom campground, the track skirts its way around the pencil pine forest, and it's only 5 minutes around to the old campsite where the Dixon's Kingdom hut is. You can see the huts just made out of logs piled together. I've actually, in a blizzard, one winter stayed in here. And some people have got their packs in here. Must be up at Mount Jerusalem. I shared the night with a possum. Just stopping for morning tea at the old Dixon Kingdom hut, just enjoying the wind in the trees and no noise. What's the blood? What's that little spot? It's a friend. I have a friend. It's my Tasmanian second head. And I can't even see it. I can see a bit of a patch there. He looks pretty big. Happy little leech. Where our salt is back at our other camp. So he'll stay for a while. Thanks for Nobby's salted nuts. We're able to get the leech off my shoulder, and now from the old Dixon Kingdom hut, it's just up to Mount Jerusalem. Straight ahead is Jaffa Gate. Here's a tarn out of the wind. Mount Jerusalem in the background. A lone little pencil pine. I'm sure you're going to get more wind than anything else, but this is looking east over into the Central Plateau, Lake Augusta. Now if you go to New Zealand for fly fishing in rivers, you come to Tasmania for fly fishing in lakes. There's trout in so many of these lakes. Looking south, oh, you can just see Frenchman's Cap sticking out in the cloud. I might have to try and zoom in. Just have the creek flowing over the top of the grass. Usually in summer when it's dry, it flows underneath all this grass and flows down and through the valley. But now there's been so much water that it's flowing over the top. Just got a spring that looks like it's flowing up from underneath the trees. And then it disappears underground again. Have this old gnarly fella sitting in front of us for our lunch break. The weather's really got a feel. It's got cold. The clouds got really sort of gloomy and dark. Just feels like things are going to get a little bit real pretty soon. At the moment there's a bit of an eerie stillness. It's just maybe that calm before the storm. Back at Damascus Gate, the weather's closing in. We were going to climb Solomon's Throne. Back to Herod's Gate. The winds are blowing us out. We can see the waves on Lake Salom. Look like you can almost surf them. Looking back to Herod's Gate, just had my wash. The rain's just started and we're 5 minutes back from camp. So it's going to be wet dinner, wet evening, wet night, wet. We beat the rain. We are somewhat dry. We probably won't be dry by the morning, but we're leaving in the morning. The rain. Yeah, it's no 5:30. Only got another 14 hours to go. 8 o'clock. 12 hours to go. Well, you wouldn't believe the night we had. It sounded like we were sleeping next to a jet engine. Oh, the gnats. The sound of the wind coming through Herod's Gate was just phenomenal. The rain, we thought we were going to get washed away, but to our surprise this morning, there's no rain. We've got our stuff together. We're trying to get all tidied up, dried up for our hike out. There's a whole heap of leeches here. Let's see if we can attract some. There we go, already. How's that? There's another one. No, he's dropped off. That one hasn't. Oh, go away. Don't want you. Oh, far out, he's attached. This is a bit awkward. There we go. Right, done. Leeches everywhere. Welcome to the first day of summer in the Highlands of Tasmania. Now making our way back from Herod's Gate, back past Solomon's Jewels. Obviously the track's a bit wet. Bit of a challenge. I'm trying to talk and think at the same time. Where are my feet going to go? But the sun just came out for a brief moment. I've got 2 layers of thermals on, and with the sun just came out, I could feel it just scorching the back of my neck. It's crazy that it's so cold, yet the sun can have such an effect. Yesterday we hardly saw the sun, if at all, but both of us felt like we'd had got a bit of sunburn on the face, even though we had a hat on and had sunscreen. But that's I guess that's summer in Tassie. Fantastic Tasmanian waratah specimen, and even in this gloomy light, it's beautiful reds. Really like this time of year. Right, tricky little river crossing. Got to figure out which way to go. Man, at least the rocks aren't slippery. When your path becomes a river. Don't worry so much about keeping your feet dry. So here we have some bracken fern, some spring growth. So we talked about the jack jumpers before. With this, if you squish it up, get the juice or the resin out of that, you wipe that onto your jack jumper bites. Now, jack jumper bites are really alkali, and bracken like to grow in acidic areas, so this is really acidic and it neutralizes the sting. Just a tip. There we have one of the 2 monotremes and echidna. He's been scared, so he's just bunkering down. Might poke his head out in the tick. So that's it. Walls of Jerusalem, back at the car. Sun relatively shining, and a couple of things we've learnt is we're really unfit compared to what we have been, but the Tooth Fairy's ankles held out and her knees okay, so gives us a good opportunity, good foundation for more adventures.